Hey everybody, Ashley from Book Tomato here, and I'm sitting here drinking my coffee and flipping through some of my favorite books for kids about Shakespeare. And I know that Shakespeare and elementary school kids is not something, those aren't things that you put together a lot, but I've found some amazing books that will get elementary school kids, probably first grade all the way up to sixth grade, excited about Shakespeare and understanding Shakespeare in a new way. My first book is called Tales from Shakespeare, 7 Plays presented by Marcia Williams. And what I love about this book is it's in this comic strip style that really illustrates these plays to kids. This one has Julius Caesar, Macbeth, Romeo and Juliet, The Winter's Tale, Hamlet, and The Tempest. And I also have the second edition, which is more tales from Shakespeare. And I think we can all say that, if you had to take a college English class or even a high school English class, Shakespeare is hard to understand. That's the number one barrier separating us from enjoying Shakespeare plays. And it's just a different language. It's English, but it's not English that we speak today anyway. So I think this is like the number one book for understanding Shakespeare plays, because you get these, it's all illustrated out. You have the same text from that Shakespeare actually wrote, so it's using the Shakespearean language, but it's drawing it out for you in a way that anybody could enjoy. I would say even younger than first grade could enjoy if you maybe paraphrase some of the words. So definitely check this out. If you're a teacher who teaches Shakespeare, I would think this is like something that would be amazing to have on your bookshelf. My next favorite Shakespeare book for kids is called Shakespeare for Kids, His Life and Times. And this is an activity book that brings Elizabethan history and Shakespeare's life and takes it and creates activities and crafts around his life. It's by Colleen, I'm going to butcher this name, Augustin, and it's a really neat book. One of my favorite activities in it is learning to create sound effects the way they would have been created on an Elizabethan stage, like Shakespeare and his company, how they would actually create, a thunder sound or a storm sound, or to make footsteps. And it's all these activities are using, common things that you probably already have around the house or the classroom, and it would just be a neat way to, teach kids about Shakespeare. If you're doing a lesson plan on Shakespeare, to have this be part of it, I think would be an invaluable tool. And our next book is called William Shakespeare and the Globe, and it's written by Aliki. And if you've never read an Aliki book, go stop what you're doing right now, and however you get your books, Amazon Prime, your local bookstore, even thrift stores. I love finding kids' books at thrift stores. Aliki is one of my number one favorite authors and illustrators. She's a mastermind. She really gets what kids want to know, and all of those 1,000,001 questions that my kids ask me a million things over and over again. She knows what they want to hear, and she gives the answer in a way that is fun and engaging and easy for kids to understand. And so her book about William Shakespeare and the Globe, it's William Shakespeare's life, but it centers around him trying to build a theater that will be like his company's home. Because before this, you would have like traveling bands of actors who would go around England and around Europe. And he wanted to bring it to London, have one place. So, this is all about trying to build that home theater. And there are a lot of snags along the way. The original globe burns down. It also before it burns down, it gets disassembled because the landlord wouldn't renew their lease. So they had to take the globe down, timber by timber, and rebuild it. And it also goes into current day. There was a man who dreamed of rebuilding the globe because on the original spot. So the globe that we can see today, if you ever get to go to London and see the globe, it's not the original globe. It's the globe that's been rebuilt, but to the highest standard. I've never actually seen it, but I think it's built just as it would have been built in Shakespeare's day. Okay, my next Shakespeare book for kids, and this has to be, I know I keep saying that each one is my favorite, and I have a children's book problem where they're all my favorite, but this I think would be the most fun just to sit down and read. It's called Will's Words, How William Shakespeare Changed the Way You Talk, and it's by Jane Sutcliffe and John Shelley. And I think it's just a neat book. We all know that Shakespeare has these famous quotes, and he liked to play with words, and a lot of the things that we say today, we don't realize are actually something he wrote. They're household words that we use today, like too much of a good thing, or what's done is done, or the long and short of it. And this book does a good job of making it very clear and concise. Every page has a beautiful illustration of London in Shakespeare times. And it also has little little blurb boxes with the saying that Shakespeare created, what it means, a definition that kids can understand, and in what play that saying appeared in. It also has a little bit about, historical context, how that saying relates to Shakespeare's day. And this is a book that I find all over my house because my 4th grader will pick it up and read it all the time. Or, I keep finding it out different places where he reads. So I think that's a good sign, that I don't have to okay, let's read Shakespeare now. He actually wants to read this one. So if you have, he probably started reading it last year when he was in 3rd grade. 3rd, 4th, 5th graders, I think this would be a great addition to your bookshelf. My last favorite book about William Shakespeare for kids is called Bard of Avon, The Story of William Shakespeare by Diane Stanley and Peter Venema. Venema? Not sure. This one, it's similar to the Aliki book in that it is basically a picture book biography of his life. But I think this one, whereas the Aliki book really focused on the globe, this one really focuses on his life, but also the time period. So this is a great book, not only for, classroom lessons on William Shakespeare, but also lessons on Elizabethan England and how the political times during that time period really shaped William Shakespeare's career. He was very successful, but he, was kind of knocked down to size a couple of times by a very conservative reign. So this would be an interesting one for that. Well, there you have it. There are my books to get your kids loving Shakespeare and reading it and maybe even using it in their everyday lives, which is important. If you like this, please follow me. I'm on Instagram at Book Tomato Kids Books. I'm on Twitter at Book Tomato Blog. and I am at my blog at booktomato.net. Bye, guys.